everyone. We are currently in the DAKSHINAYANA phase of 2024 and truly a time of a critical shift into the cycle of transformation that we are experiencing. And from June 21st, summer solstice, till December 21st, winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, is this phase of Dakshinayana. So if we have to explore this through the lens of yoga, every cycle, as we know, consciousness, that which we are, is experiencing itself as this dual play, right? And it has a particular nature. Every state of consciousness, that we are consciousness, of course, our primary nature, is simply self-aware, timeless, non-linear, unconditional, unlimited. And when we're appearing in the body, so at the level of our physical body, our thinking mind, and the play of the world or the outer that is perceived as this two, we appear as, playing as the linear time-space reality. So in this context, the way that we can experience this in yoga is to take one cycle, right? It's cycles within cycles, any cycle that we can pick and explore. One, the annual cycle that we have, is seen as a typical flow of nature that is split into two, right? And that two that we can really look at is from end of June, summer solstice, till winter solstice, to be the Dakshinayana phase. It has a particular flow. And from December 21st, winter solstice, which we know is, going into New Year, spring, summer, that we're kind of done with now, is the Uttarayana phase. And this is a beautiful way to really align with the nature we are appearing as, right? Because every cycle at the level of duality is a linear way of coming into our more expansive self. Because the flow of nature is always an open portal, an invitation to, as if coming into more awareness experientially, of knowing more of that which we already are, right? So it's almost like bringing what is the unknown and celebrating it as the known, right? And that's actually exactly what this phase that we are in right now currently. So Dakshinayana is the invitation for the body to go within, like the whole self that we may be identified with and as at the level of Dwapar Yuga, to go within, dissolve. So from June 21st, as we see, darker times, right? Longer nights. So it's coming more into darkness. So it's inward facing, it's downward. The lower three chakras come more into focus, one may say. And that's why it's called the feminine time. It's the time of the night. And as we know, cycles within cycles, right? Depending on which one we pick. And eventually, the tighter the cycle, the more we kind of dissolve into the bindu point, one may say. For example, now we're looking at the cycle of the year, right? One other way to look at also, this is the 4 seasons, right? Every season has a flavor. And we all know this from our things like if you've studied, holistic medicine, as in Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, all they follow. That's why it's all inviting the unconscious Dwapar Yuga state of mind that stands as if the separate self, as if I'm a doer. And the experience of us playing as the unconscious Dwapar Yuga is that we move as our own conditions, as if we are separate from nature. So we're not very aware. For us, at that point, the definition of nature is we look outside, oh, the trees, or the weather. So we move then to the narratives that we are conditioned, right? The conditions that we are carrying. But everything is an invitation, that's why, to align with nature. So these are ways to explore it, right? So at the larger circle, we can see these 4 seasons, and it's exactly the same way, right? There's no time, space, reality outside of the self. It's the vibration of the self, that is the nature of mind, state of consciousness, that determines everything, right? Perception, experience, expression, all the understanding choices that are made within that. So every state of consciousness is a playground, right? A dynamic playground. Now, when we explore this, that's why at a larger cycle as well, we can see things like Kali Yuga state of mind, Dwapar Yuga state of mind. And that's how we experience our world in that way, our reality. That's why the invitation to always, eternal invitation for the personal mind is to go within. And as these cycles, we start going, shortening the time, linear time, one way to look at it. For example, right now, for this time, we're going to explore in this video DAKSHINAYANA. So we're taking a 6-month time frame from June end till December end. Another way to look at this, if you want to tighten, is that a day itself, consider the whole day as a whole year in that sense, and you'll see that, right? The Uttarayana phase is the daytime, where the sun's northward, more day. So our Uttarayana during from December 21st onwards, we see that shift from winter solstice, and then there's more daytime. So in our culture, that's why in the Indian culture, we say that's when the devas and devis come, awaken. That's the outward masculine facing time. And that's why it's that we feel the energy of fresh start, new year, right? And then new beginning, spring, right? The blossoming and the fruiting in summer. That's all, that everything that has been simmering underneath, that is the source, the root, now sprouts to show the beauty at a surface level, at the masculine, at the level and the world of matter. And then, of course, come June 21st, the shift, no longer nights. So at the end of Uttarayana, at this point where we are, from June onwards in July, nature is, in one way to put it, in this context, is that it has completely spent itself. Yeah, so that's why we say that it is actually where the body is the weakest, one may say. Or another way to look at it is the fullest, because when we express ourselves and nature expresses itself, it becomes full of the world, right? Full of the world. So this invitation, this shift, is really an invitation to empty itself. Ultimately, there is no difference between the masculine and the feminine, because there are 2 paradoxes that make the one whole, right? So it's the way that you look at it. We are emptying ourselves during Dakshinayana, so we are called to go inwards and contemplate, right? To rest, be in that silence so we can really sense deeper, so that we can rise again in the Uttarayana phase and express ourselves. So at the end of where we are right now, end of Uttarayana and beginning of Dakshinayana, we are completely kind of spent. We have experienced everything, right? And we have offered that expression into the world. That which we have steeped into during Dakshinayana and the new that was there, we have brought into manifest, we have blossomed as that and offered it and lived it in the world, right? And then we are done with that. So now we are shifting back in. And that's why really these 6 months, and that's inspiration for this video. These 6 months, especially now, this 2024, this year, we're sharing 2024, 25, 26, 27, the momentum is such that we are awakening to a different yuga, realizing. So it's not within evolution, within the cycle of a Dwapar Yuga. As if the linear mind, our Smriti mind, is becoming more aware. This is the quantum leap. that is why it's so exciting. We are in that, which already is, right? We are the quantum field, we are the Akasha, we are pure consciousness, and we are that one unknown mind already. But at the level of realizing that, that's experientially, right? That's where we are right now, right? And that is the exciting invitation of especially this Dakshinayana 2024. Very potent, right? But what are the keys that can be helpful for a seeking mind as we are walking through this? What are the ways to see and be this, right? It's a beautiful play. So whatever's going to come through, right? Very key that was coming up that I really want to share before I begin is that everything that arises comes through in a particular context. So many practices will come up, many ways of being and seeing, and what we can do will come up. Again, the eternal invitation in all these videos is trust your own highest resonance with what touches you. Right? So the invitation really is to come in empty, right? To leave all the ideas of what we know or what we don't think we know, and that what we feel we need to know, all of that, because we are already consciousness, and to come in as that empty field. I kind of wanted to really share this vision that came through it. It was so beautiful and so apt when I received it, was that one way to look at this empty field is to experience ourselves as a loose net. You know, like almost like a clear glass, but like a strainer. So when we are there as this away field, we are not exploring or seeking anything with a need to know. What we are doing really is by simply being present wherever we are, whatever state of consciousness. We're simply listening, being, allowing, taking in whatever is arising as us, and whatever moves through us, whatever that is needed to be known, that may be helpful and serving for us, will resonate. So it's almost like that is what will get caught in the net. And the rest that is not needed, whether it is something of a denser vibration or state of consciousness, or even of something that is really so expansive that at this point where we are, we can't relate with it, flows through. And what is perfect that is needed for us at this minute, because life happens only in this minute. Right? So one of the other really big stances, I'm going to kind of compile this in like a seeker's guide kind of video, which really has been helpful for this body mind, completely shifted the way that life is experienced, I would really say, and that can be helpful for a seeking mind, is these kind of practices to really see. Right? So what is perfectly, every arising moment is fresh, is a state of consciousness. So do not hold anything as a concept, because the minute we hold anything as a concept and live as that, then we are holding everything in a Dwapar Yuga state of mind, which is fine. That is one experience, right? Through the intellectual mind, and then we are learning. But if this video has found you, because there are no coincidences, absolutely no coincidences. So if this has found you, and even for whatever you've heard till now, this kind of resonates at some level, that is because you're already there. That's how it works. It's you're already there, otherwise it wouldn't even resonate. So very key is to kind of just, we'll step into this field as this open space. And whatever that needs to show itself, that is needed in that sense, in this moment, beyond a concept, will stay with us in the field. And we'll see it sometimes even during the video, or what I hear from many is that it comes up later, oh, I was watching that video, or I'd heard somebody saying this, it didn't make sense at that time, but later it completely made. So it's like that, right? So to trust that because we are knowing, there's really no needing to hold on to anything as if it's outside of ourselves. Everything in this perspective of, if we're speaking in the perspective of the person, everything is within, right? We eventually know within, without. It's the one self. So that's the invitation. So I'm actually, before I jump into even more of Dakshinayana and Uttarayana, I'm being called to do this simple breath work. I also want to share that a lot of this stuff is being discussed, or rather not even discussed, lived, I would say, as a field in the Pranayama classes that I do. It's much more than Pranayama. So that's happening already on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So for anyone who may be interested, do join us there, because that is actually the living of it, where we experientially, because everything arises from within. So the words, of course, are helpful in a certain context, for a certain state of mind, and it is expressed as such. But if you want to go deeper and sense it within ourselves itself, that I am that already, then the pranayama classes can be really very helpful. And I'll go ahead and put the details down there. And I'm also going to share a couple of the recent recordings and put it up probably in SoundCloud or wherever. So I'll put the links of that as well down here. So if you listen to this video, if it is something that resonates, you want to kind of try being part of the field, then you can listen to those recordings, because that's where we really explore this as the one energetic field, as at the level of chakras. Because everything the person thinks it's experiencing with its ideas, its way of seeing the world and being, is simply a phenomena. Mind is phenomena. There is nobody doing anything. It's simply the illusion that the Vapor Yuga plays, that it's doing as if it's separate. It's all simply phenomena. The minute I, as consciousness, I vibrate, and that's a conscious choice, right? Because consciousness is conscious. And as I vibrate as that, I experience my world and my reality as that. It's simply phenomena, so that I can play at being and seeing and as if doing, right? That's the karma aspect of different infinite worlds, living different stories, different realities. It's simply as that. And to experience that which I am as this divine phenomena, divya, appearance, as I appear as, is experienced for ourselves through these energetic practices for the body, at the level of the body. That which we are already is. There's no experience for it in that sense. So I'll go ahead and put all those links down there so you can listen to a few recordings and see if that resonates for you. Join us, in the pranayama class and everything. And then let's do this one practice. So, one way, like I said, there's no inner or there's no outer, right? We become subtler. A subtler reality and world reveals itself to us. That when we are dancing, as the gross mind is unseen, we are blind to it. And that is why the highest resonance, because when we are dancing primarily as that gross, right, we are always one way to look at, one way to perceive this, right? Like visual, for people who are visual. Every identity can be seen as a flavor of three states: the tamas, the rajas, and the sattva. One way to look at these three states is tamas is where consciousness is within any range of frequency, is densely vibrating, right? And holds denser perception and experiences within itself. Rajas is the middle, and then sattva is the most expansive. That aspect of us is in touch with our most highest possibilities, highest identity. That's the deeper knowing, right? And we're always within that range. So when we even speak about resonance, is that, again, this I'm going to cover in my Seekers video, because it's very, very key. Because this has come up now, so that this was coming up in the questions, that's why, is that when we resonate with that denser tamas aspect, there are certain appearing truths that we will resonate with, right? Which are a denser perception, right? It's all equanimous ultimately, right? It's all play. Sattva is that resonance that we know deep within. It's even, let's say, beyond the experience of our body, but we know. Right? When somebody says you're more than what you're experiencing, we know within, we can sense it. So that's the invitation. So these kind of practices to begin with is very important, even before this is for the seeking mind, even before we step out to look into the world. I know that my state of being is going to determine what I'm going to see in the world, what I'm going to perceive. And this is the lifestyle practice. That's why. The path, of course, the non-practice is, that's why, to stay aware. Stay aware. So every practice is in service of that. Doesn't matter which practice you're called to, is in the service that it makes us more aware. It allows the body to become more aware. Therefore, it can sense more. Right? So this is the invitation. So the more we stay in that state, we are subtler there. We are more open there. Right? It's more a space of stillness and awareness. When we are there, the perceiver, the perceiving, and the perceived is one flavor. When I am vibrating at my subtlest level and sensing from there, I perceive the subtle. Right? So that's the invitation. So that's why it's kind of beautiful to kind of begin our day. That's the part of sadhana, right? DAKSHINAYANA is the invitation, that's why, to come in and experience ourselves as the sadhana pada. I would actually like to call, if Uttarayana is called as the Kaivalya pada or the Jnana pada, which is a path of realization, right? Coming out towards bringing into light, into knowing. And that's why we say Jnana, right? That shines, that masculine projection of the light, that which we are. Then this is the love phase, and that's why I call it as the Bhakti pada. That's why when we see discipline as love, it has a different flavor. Right? It's I love it. The practice becomes a living joy. Right? So this is the invitation for that. So very clear. That's why to begin with connecting to our subtlest state. Okay. So with that, this breath that I want to introduce, which I call as the Bliss Body Breath. It's called the way that it is sensed, in Pranayama that we really share. It's like the body of being is the 5 koshas. Right? When we are identified as the gross level, we are identified at more at the Annamaya kosha, right? The physical body that eats and things like that. Maybe a little bit, at the Pranamaya, Manomaya kosha, as okay, when we become aware a little bit of, our mind, like my emotions, we become aware how we are moving as our emotions, our thoughts, all of that. That's the range we are in. Beyond that, it's the Vijnanamaya kosha, which is when we awaken to, that when that kosha, body, starts becoming active, that is when we experience ourselves as an inner knowing. Right? We start moving as that soul. Right? We realize I am the wisdom, I am the Veda. That knowing of what I need to move as my unique expression cannot be given as an advice from outside. Yes, everything eventually is the same, and we can sense that as well. But we are not blindly taking in, right? We know we are a unique expression, and this is dynamic. So when it's dynamic, so that dynamism we come into our picture with, right? Vijnanamaya. Beyond that, the Anandamaya kosha is that still phase, that's bliss. So this breath is a powerful, simple, powerful breath, which I really want to name that which already is. If we ever see a newborn breathing, One, of course, we've seen, right? The newborn baby is in that state, right? Its mind is not yet pulled by the conditions and the beliefs, all of that of the world. So it's just this empty space, allowing all of experience, whatever it is, without any definitions. So we see, right, the baby's breathing and the womb space, the belly is so peacefully breathing. So let's do that together. Just breathe, or allow the breath to breathe the belly. Whatever the base is, shoulders at ease, head at ease, the beauty of our spine that effortlessly holds the torso. This body that is born as an extension of Mother Earth is unconditionally supporting the existence of this experience. Palms open, facing upwards, fingers loose, chest loose. An inner, open-hearted acknowledgement for the breath. I am the breath. As I identify with this breath, that is my subtle body, that allows for the living of this experience. My whole energetic space of my physical body starts dissolving and becoming more subtle and open, air-like. Sense the vertical axis. The breath moving in from the nostril and kissing the depth of the womb. The ease of that, the ease of receiving with inhalation and giving with exhalation. Allow every muscle to simply relax in the hips, the belly, just for these few moments, and we'll be at absolute ease. Nothing to be, nothing to do. Tip of the tongue loosely placed on the top palate behind the front teeth. I am the breath. The pranic breath. Inhale, exhale, receive, express. Smiling nature. As the baby breathes, the breath that it is of life and living, internally there's something even happening at a subtler level, which of course we do not see from the outside. With every inhale, there is a current of energy or an internal, even subtler breath moving from the base of the spine upwards via the root chakra, sacral chakra, and solar plexus chakra just above the navel point. Root chakra at the perineum point, sacral in between, say between the belly button and the perineum, and then just above the belly button, solar plexus, Manipura. Putting loving attention there just for a few seconds in the lower part of the spine, acknowledging I see me, I sense me. And now as the breath moves in as an inhalation, paradoxically at the same time, from the top movement of the breath moving down, from the root chakra there's energy moving upwards. This is the paradoxical movement. There's this beautiful movement. So with every inhale, sensing almost like a subtle breath, and allow that to appear for you. Do not make anything happen. Just sensing it with every inhale. Taking the inner gaze perhaps very lightly from the root chakra upwards till the belly. Allowing it to waft up as light as that and letting it go. Natural exhalation. We don't need to do anything for exhalation really. And then inhale, again that breath. So this kind of creates this paradoxical movement. And just enjoy being this breath. Being a baby. Like a baby. Absolute trust. I mean, even the concept of trust is not there, right? It's like just beingness. The blessedness of this experience of coming into manifestation. I am manifest. It's the unwordable knowing. So just this simple breath. We may almost be already feeling ourselves to be that subtle space. This activates the Anandamaya Kosha, that which we are. Beyond even the subtle, at the edge of the causal body. I am. I am. I am. just being in this space. This is a powerful space where we can really now sense nature. And every body is a unique expression of nature in any given moment, beyond any concepts. So this allows us to kind of sense. It allows the body to bring forth and translate the perfect response and action that is needed in any given moment. So this in one way is the potent invitation of Dakshinayana. Darkness, the feminine. She's the subtle, she's the doorway to the subtle at every level. Till, of course, where there's no difference between the masculine and the feminine. Right? Because this awareness, it's arriving to neutrality. There's no difference even. But so, the Dakshinayana phase that we are in right now is that phase.